Hello, everyone. Today we'll talk about a specific kind of performance problem, which is the impact that file share latency can have. I talked about some other reasons why performance issues can occur in my previous videos on hung or stuck processes, and here we're going to focus on this one reason in particular. This is the kind of problem that might only account for a few seconds per shape, but it can really add up to multiply the execution time of your processes. The easiest way to tell if you're having disk trouble is to check your slower process logs. In these logs, we're looking for something Boomi support sometimes calls lost time or lost time on the wall clock or something like that. And given here are two examples. In example one, there are only 96 milliseconds of actual Boomi work that has occurred. And yet you'll see that 3 seconds have passed on the timestamp when the next shape begins. This is time lost between shapes, so to speak, or time lost, sometimes called on the wall clock. And this is not representative of Boomi work. It's lag while the system catches up. In short, what you want to do is to find a point in time where the timestamp updates, then look at how much time in milliseconds each shape execution above it took to see if it adds up. Or does it not add up to the actual time that has passed on the clock? The second example is similar. A branch ends at a stop shape, but it takes several seconds before the next branch actually fires. You might also see similar delays between the start time of the process and when the activity actually begins, or between the end of the process activity and the actual end being registered in process reporting. In this example, you can see 4 seconds go by, even though there's 0 milliseconds that are actually taken up doing Boomi work. The stop shape really should kind of almost instantaneously move on to the next branch, but a lot of time is lost in this case. So first, we should specify that we're looking for fairly dramatic examples here. If 1 second passes on the timestamp and the prior shape accounted for less than a second, make sure you look carefully. The remainder of that time could have been made up by other shapes during that previous second. It's also possible that not every 1 second advance is going to line up precisely with the reported shape times. There might be a few milliseconds difference. There might be a minor discrepancy. It doesn't necessarily indicate a problem. We're looking for big, obvious differences and lost seconds and things like that. There are some other common causes that can cause this sort of issue. Antivirus running on the Boomi server is one common one. You could be running out of disk space. There could be other applications using up a lot of resources. On a molecule, if working data local storage directory is not set, it has to phone back to the file share for every command. There's other things that can slow down your time, and there's going to be a little bit of overhead, especially with the difference between, say, atoms and molecules, that sort of thing. Now, conversely, it's more likely to be a problem with your disk if the lost time seriously affects shapes that most interact with the disk, like a disk connector, obviously. But maps and business rules shapes, for example, also do a lot of work on the disk connector. And if you're seeing those get impacted, that increases the chances that we're looking at a disk problem. So if you're seeing this and you're not having the other problems that were indicated, no antivirus running, other applications using too many system resources, you have plenty of RAM and disk space, all that, then you'll want to investigate your disk. Now, investigating your drive, this is too involved to comprehensively cover in this video, but just some hints to get you started and some useful commands you're going to want to look at. On Linux, there's 3 that we make the most use of in Boomi support. NFS IOstat, you want to pay special attention to the EXE column. IOstat-X, pay special attention to the await column. That one in particular, we have it's a rough thumbnail. It's an informal thumbnail, but when we see 3 milliseconds or more there, we tend to call that a performance issue. It's not a hard and fast number, just a rule of thumb. The top command is also very useful. Remember, one of the other possible things that could be happening here, if it's not the disk, is that other applications are using up a ton of resources. So Boomi's got plenty of memory, but there's not enough memory on the machine to really service Boomi. Top will help show you, okay, what are other applications doing. On Windows, it's a little bit simpler. Performance Monitor or perfmon is going to be your main way to go. Also, obviously, check Task Manager to look for other tasks. And that about sums it up for this. So it's a It's a bit more complicated of a topic, but wanted to at least cover, how to look for that time lost, because that's going to be your biggest flag that you have something outside of Boomi that's driving a performance issue on your Boomi processes. It's not always the application. Sometimes it can be more systemic than that. So thank you very much, and we will catch you in the next video.